College football never sleeps, and the playoff committee has taken one step to become more irrelevant, which we are here for. We are here for a committee not holding the power that they do. And today we got news of what it looks like in the future. We're going to give you all the implications of that decision next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint. I am Daniel. Thanks so much for being with us today, making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. More on them in a moment. But we're talking college football playoff. We haven't even won a game, but we're talking about the playoff.
Why shouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we? They made an announcement today. There was a lot of people were wondering about the Power Five, the former artists formerly known as the Power Five conferences. Obviously, the Pac-12 has very little power at this point. No offense to Oregon State and Washington State, but
no, there's offense there.
Yeah, sure. But the college football playoff cleared some things up. Made an announcement. I feel like people are acting as if it's a lot more new news than it really is, but we'll get into that maybe.
It's like EA Sports teasing a possible trailer of a possible trailer of a possible game. It's all the same news.
It's all the same news. The highest ranked conference champions still get buys. That's all the same. That did not change. But today was another opportunity for people to remember that that's how the format was always going to work, has always worked. And so gives us an opportunity to talk about it. Obviously, it's important for Georgia fans because Georgia is going to be relevant in the college football playoff every single year from henceforth. And so let's just jump in, Clint. The highest ranked, the four highest ranked conference champions are going to be the 1 through 4 seeds, regardless of what those teams are ranked. If they are, you must be a conference champion to be a top 4 seed. Top 4 seeds get the buys. So you must be a conference champion to get that bye. And it rewards teams for playing in and winning a conference championship game. Now, if you play in and lose a conference championship game, that's going to hurt you significantly. But that's the same. And then 5 highest ranked conference champions, regardless of conference affiliation. So whether that's a Mountain West team or an American Athletic Conference team or a Pac-12 team, the 5 highest ranked conference champions will get in automatically, essentially putting the Pac-12 in the group of 5, which is now the group of 6, I guess.
Whatever.
So, and then the 7 highest ranked teams apart from that.
Regardless of anything else, just
regardless
the
of
highest 7
of their championship status. That's correct. So they could be conference champions or they could not be conference champions. So, Clint, what big picture, what do you make of this news? What are the things that stand out to you? And then as we move into segments 2 and 3, maybe we'll get into a bit of the nitty-gritty of the details.
I think it's really unique because when we're talking about playoff implications, what we said before is conference championships are now obsolete, is what people have said. They've made statements that the SEC championship means nothing. You can still get in the playoff, yada, yada. But there are incentives for performing well still in season and winning a conference championship. Mainly that you get a bye. If you understand how footballing works and the physical nature of a football season, a bye week is tremendous. And so to be one of the top 4, to have that bye week is tremendous. People regaling the fact that, great, you're gonna give the top 4 teams a bye, but they don't get a home playoff game, and that really, really hurts them. That home atmosphere in a playoff game. You're criminalizing somebody winning a conference championship. I don't know if this is true, but if I were to poll coaches and say, great, you get a home game, but you have to play 3 games, or you don't get a home game, you get a bye, I think they're going to take the bye every time.
Every time.
So
this helps the football team you cheer for if they win a conference championship. Now, I could argue it hurts fans because if I'm a fan, would I rather my team have a bye or a home playoff game?
Give me the home playoff game.
I'll take the home playoff game. Now it's because being a fan is different than being a football coach. Like yes, we want our team to win. That is, that's tremendous. That is of significant importance to us that our team wins championships. But those home playoff game atmospheres, Clint, are going to be absolutely bananas. And so if you are in a position to be able to host one of those things as a fan, that puts you in an experience that you're going to remember for quite some time, have an opportunity to be able to be a part of that environment. But in terms of the football team, yes, it does reward a conference champion. Conference champion in that scenario would only have to win 16 games. And a team that does not play in a conference championship would also only have to win 16 games to win the national championship. Obviously, you have to win, or you have to play 15 games to win the national championship. I meant play. They don't have to win all the games, obviously. But a team that does play in a conference championship but loses, but still makes the playoff as one of the 7 highest ranked teams who's not a conference champ, or like the 7 highest ranked remaining teams. That team's going to have to play in 17 games to win because they're going to have to play in 4 playoff games in addition to the 13 game schedule.
Just think about that for a hot second. SEC championship game comes, Alabama and Georgia crushing each other's skulls in for a very hard fought game, the loser of which has to turn around and play very soon after that game concludes, likely on the road.
I mean, could be a home game in a situation where, like, maybe if you have number 1 Texas, number 2 Georgia, and Georgia loses that game, they could still be in a position to be hosting, that next.
But if you have an SEC championship game of Texas 4, they stumble along the way, or they don't rise up, or whatever. Georgia does stumble, lose 1, goes down to 6. Georgia plays in the SEC championship game. It's the 1 loss to Texas, and we lose the game. We have 2 losses. We make the playoff, but we're now 10th. And all of a sudden,
you got to go 17 games.
Jeez.
Including a road game to open, and it's a lot. I mean, it's a grueling schedule. And oh, by the way, SEC is about to go to a 9-game conference schedule. So when that happens, now you're going to have 10 SEC games, including the conference championship game.
10 out of potentially 17 games are SEC opponents.
And then let's say you schedule Clemson and Georgia Tech as well. You got 2 more Power 5 opponents there. And then you will have 4 playoff games if you lose
against a likely SEC opponent again.
Listen, against the best teams in the country, regardless of their conference affiliation. Making the playoff is a lot easier now. Winning the championship is going to be a lot harder now. We'll talk about that more in just a moment, but first, want to talk about these.
These are, in fact, Game Time. Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use promo code Locked On for $20 off right now. You can get last-minute deals and tickets to concerts, sporting events. If you like the NBA, you want to get in on something that actually a meaningful game, well, don't go to the All-Star game, but go to another game. Go to hockey. Last minute, even up to an hour after the game starts, you can still get last-minute tickets. Get on in there. Daniel and I have used Game Time. We love it. They're the official ticket sponsor of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcasts everywhere. And right now, like I said, you download the app or you go to gametime.co and you get $20 off your first order with promo code Locked On. That's $20 off your first order in the Game Time app today using promo code Locked On.
Now, Clint, before we get to the other nuances of this and your other thoughts, let me stay on that point for just a second, because we've made a big deal about this, saying the thing Kirby Smart did, winning back-to-back national championships in the 4-team college football playoff era, has never been matched. It's never been touched. Because it is harder to win a championship in this format, the 4-team format, than it ever has been previous to this in the history of college football. It just look at college basketball. The more teams that are in the mix, the more likely it is that you are going to get bounced and that you're not going to make it all. That's why you don't, like, John Wooden ain't walking through that door. You're not going to see any dynasties in college basketball. That's just not how the game is. Like, UConn is a very good team this year. They won the national championship last year. It would be a miracle, even if they were to win the national championship again this year. It's very hard to do. So Kirby Smart has done something that no other coach has been able to equal in college football. But rest assured, Georgia fans, even though we are excited about the 12-team playoff format, because it means Georgia's going to have a chance, unlike this previous year, Georgia's going to have a chance to compete for the national championship every single year. And it's not going to get robbed from you just because your team slips and stumbles, in one game. Even though we're excited about the opportunity to play for the national championship more often, it's harder to win the national championship in this format, no matter what seed you are.
This now will be the winner next year of the college football championship will automatically be one of the best 5 teams to ever play college football. And the reason being is because, at least at the tail end, you can come from a bad conference with a couple of ranked teams in there, a couple of upper echelon guys. I understand. Michigan, Ohio State, sure.
The ACC.
The ACC.
We're talking about the ACC.
Florida State, Michigan, Ohio State. Those are the teams I'm talking about. But then when you get playoff time, maybe round one, like for instance, this last year, the team that would have gotten into 12 because they were the highest ranked remaining conference champion, that would be Liberty. Liberty would have gotten in over Oklahoma because Liberty was 22nd, Oklahoma was 12th, but Oklahoma finished 3rd. Big 12. So now Liberty gets in. Liberty would have played Florida State. Okay, fine. You can say Florida State gets into that. But after that, the field is Ole Miss, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Missouri, Oregon. Oh, and then the top 4 teams, Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama. You win that gauntlet, you're one of the best college football teams in the history of college football, just because of the sheer challenge that this format brings. Now, we can talk about it's just insanely tough. So there is now, the cream is going to separate from everything else. It's going to rise to the top in this. I think you're going to have, I don't believe, because of this gauntlet, many people are expecting the expanded playoff to include champions who wouldn't normally get in and wouldn't normally win because they're not top of the top 4 and they couldn't beat them. Let me tell you right now, great for Liberty getting at 12 last year if this playoff was around, but I'm telling you right now, you can hate me if you want. They're not getting past 3 of those teams that I just listed.
You saw what happened when they played Oregon in a bowl game that Oregon was only sort of caring about.
You saw what Georgia did against Florida State.
Yeah.
And Florida State did it, but it's not the same. So for those who are thumping the drum that this expanded playoff is going to give us different championship winners, No, it
It's
won't.
not. It's going to be the same pool, but it's going to
the
be
same 4 or
harder.
5 teams.
It's going to be harder for those teams to get it done. Now, to be fair, you had a new winner this past year, and you had a new contender in Washington. I know they've made the playoff before, but were they a contender that year? Come on.
No, they weren't.
So I do think you're going to see a lot of the same teams. You're going to see a lot of fresh teams in the playoff, and they might sneak up and win some games.
You might take one, sure. You might pull it off, but again, the gauntlet of the playoff now will not render anything like what you're anticipating this does. All this does is make more money for ESPN to have the same championship 4 or 5 remaining people. That's all this does. We've been put, and it's going to be fun for us Georgia fans. Like, again, it's
going to be fun for any college football fan. I mean, all people are doing is just bitching and moaning right now, like complaining about it because of this and this and that. Well, at the end of the day,
there's more games
next January, next December, when you're going to be thrilled when this format is happening. You're going to be put the PTO request in.
Oh, we're going to give you the dates of this year and next year and what this looks like. We're going to plan this out in the third segment for the loyal 199. But first, these. And these are FanDuel. FanDuel, get $150 in bonus bets anytime a winning $5 bet is placed. Right now, you need to shoot your shot because the NBA season is in full go, and FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcasts everywhere, is going to go ahead and make you have same game parlays, over-unders, win totals, just straight up against the spread. FanDuel is the place that you need to go. And right now, it's exciting and unique in the action. You need to make every moment more. Right over FanDuel.com/locked-on, because when you do, first-time listeners, first-time participants in FanDuel will get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Shoot your shot. FanDuel, official partner of NBA basketball. Let's talk about that PTO request, Daniel, because it's needed.
You're going to need, it's going to be multiple times. There's going to be long stretches. Now, again, a lot of these games are on Saturdays, and so that's nice. I like the fact that the first round, the on-campus round, there is going to be one Friday night game.
Okay, great.
I mean, that's
I'll be
mad about that.
That opening the season, we wouldn't mind for Georgia to play a Friday night game, like
opening the season. First weekend only.
I said opening the season. Yes.
So Friday, December 20th. And Saturday, December 21st, and then 3 games Saturday. There's going to be an afternoon game, a late afternoon game.
We're talking December. Offices are shut down. Your party, your Christmas party for your is done.
Let me just tell you this: do not schedule me a Christmas party on Saturday, December 21st.
If you think you're going to sneak one of those in, the RSVP will come back empty.
I'm not even going to send that thing back. You ought to know better. Second round games, those will be your New Year's Day games. And so you'll have one game on New Year's Eve, and then you'll have 3 games on New Year's Day.
Oh my gosh.
3 playoff games on New Year's Day.
Y'all understand what we're saying right now.
Let me just be clear.
Okay.
That's as many playoff games as we had all year this year.
In totality.
That's one day. And it's the second day you'll have 3 games. Okay? So that's the 31st and the 1st.
Golly, I can't wait.
Fast forward ahead to a Thursday, Friday. This is where things get weird because of the NFL playoffs. And you knew that this was going to happen because the NFL is playing on Saturdays at this point, and there's nothing college football can do. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't like it. I hate the NFL. I love college football. It doesn't matter.
He grew up a Falcons fan. That's why he hates the NFL.
Come on now. Don't even. I don't even recognize who that is that you're talking about.
You're going to have to cheer for Justin Fields.
No. Let me stop you. Let me stop you right there. Okay. If you think that I have cheered for the Falcons in 5 years
Yeah, that's
or
true. Okay.
will cheer for the Falcons in the next 5 years, you are sadly mistaken.
Jamal Anderson has not been in the building. in quite some
Thursday,
time.
January the 9th, and Friday, January the 10th. This is where you're really going to want the PTO. Now, they're both night
Yeah.
games, but it doesn't matter. You need a whole day
Is
in
the
the
stew
kitchen.
going to cook itself?
You need a whole day to prepare the groceries,
Yeah.
to set the scene, to make sure
queso
that the
dip.
right people are invited and the right people are uninvited. Like, these are the things you need to be working on. So I know it's early in the year, and I know you've got that vacation coming up in the summer. You're going to want to burn a couple days right here at the beginning.
And maybe it resets for you. Maybe PTO resets come January 1. It's not a calendar year, it's the actual year, which is great. You spend it. Spend
Just
it
go ahead.
early.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's early in the year. Go ahead and spend that. And then national championship game on January the 20th. We're going to have college football on TV all the way, Clint, to January the 20th.
I haven't uttered the phrase bowl game at all so far. Okay, because
No, there will be other bowl games.
Those
the
are still
Cheez-It Bowl
ongoing.
is still gonna happen.
Let me ask you this: can his Cheez-It go in a bowl?
A Cheez-It goes right into a bowl, and
Right
you
into a bowl.
use that bowl with which it's a
very
perfect
simple.
fit.
I'm talking from December 20th to January 20th, an entire month. Okay, literally an entire month of the best football product we have on planet Earth, and the best teams playing out for an entire month stretch, culminating in a championship.
Just 10 days in between each game in order for you to do the appropriate research and place your wagers. Like, that's what you have.
Get on over to FanDuel. That's what we're saying.
That wasn't a suggestion.
No,
that was
Daniel, I don't know of another thing that has been like this. Like, when you're a kid, maybe when you were anticipating Disneyland or Disney World trip, maybe.
Sure.
But that was at most a week. All you filthy rich people that go for 2 weeks, good on you. This is an entire month, Daniel.
How I normally feel about opening weekend of college football, that's now how I feel about the end of the season of college.
Well, what if I were to tell you get both, Daniel?
I'll take them both.
And it ends Labor Day weekend and then Christmas, New Year.
Let me just say this to close. I know a lot of people don't like the conference champion seeding. Back to our conversation at the beginning.
Sure.
Until you eliminate conference championship games from the equation, you have to do this. You have to reward the teams that win those games.
Yeah.
Or you have to get rid of the games universally across
Don't play
the board.
them anywhere.
And then what do you do about the American Athletic Conference, whose conference champion isn't going to make the college football playoff?
No.
Are they supposed to just not have a championship game?
Of course,
Because not crown a champion of their conference?
Because conferences matter still to teams like that who Liberty is still going to be in a conference championship because they want to play that even if they lose.
But what about a scenario where, and then a couple years later, a team from the American Athletic Conference has a chance to get into the college football playoff? That's what I'm saying. You can't
host a home game. Do you realize how Tulane might be able to host Oklahoma at their place, to a team like that in the first round play? You're not telling me that's going to encourage college football more?
It's, as long as you have these conference championship games, you have to reward the winners. I know it sucks for the team that loses, which this past year would have been Georgia, but Georgia fell to 5, which means let's just play it out. Okay. Georgia fell to 5.
Yeah.
That means round 1, you host who? Liberty? Who are we hosting?
So the final, I think, Georgia
was 6. Florida State
was 6. Yeah. Florida State was 5. So 6, we would have hosted Ole Miss.
Yeah. Georgia hosts Ole Miss round 1 in Sanford Stadium. Worse than bananas. That place would have been absolutely falling apart.
There would have been a foundational crack that never could have been repaired.
Georgia wins that game by 200 points.
Yeah. And then we get to play whoever is left, Penn State, the lowest ranked seed, Liberty, Penn State, Missouri, Florida.
No. So then in the next round, as the 6th seed, we play the 3 seed, right? Like that's what would happen.
Oh, the bracket. Yeah.
So yes, it stinks for the team. That my point is, yes, it stinks for the team that loses that conference championship game.
Sure.
But you have to reward the team that wins it. You have to. And you have to reward them by letting them skip a game.
And then my last comment. Notre Dame fan, literally no one wants to talk to you.
No one cares about you or your football program or any of your traditions or
I like your head coach. I really, really like your head coach.
Sure.
I'm done talking nice about you. We don't want to hear you talk. Please leave the scene immediately. Join a conference. Shut up.
It just doesn't matter. Like if you like you're the kid who has like whined and 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 pitched a fit and said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be a part of the game. I don't want to be a part of the game. I don't want to do this.
Your choice.
And so we let you sit over there on the side.
Have fun.
Well, now the game looks pretty fun. And you're trying to get in here. But see, the teams have already been set and we're already midway through the game. And so now we're out here going. And so why don't you just sit on the curb?
You fine.
Like that's who you are. So
this is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast, and we're your team every single day. We will see you guys next time.
See ya.